Hi guys, so I had to study The Sound of Things Falling this year for literature, and I noticed there wasn't very much online for this novel, so I thought I'd make up a quick study guide for everyone, and hopefully you will enjoy it or find it useful. So The Sound of Things Falling is set in Bogota, the largest city in and the capital of Colombia. The novel is set after the Colombian drug wars, which occurred between rivaling cartels and the Colombian government in the 1980s and 1990s. The conflict was heavily influenced by notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar. Characters. The Sound of Things Falling centers around protagonist Antonio Yamara, as he recalls the events which occurred during his time in Bogota after spotting an article in a newspaper. Other important characters include Ricardo Laverde, the central focus of Antonio's character. Antonio meets Ricardo in a pub, and Ricardo is later shot. Antonio attempts to find out more about Ricardo's life and why he was executed, and this later becomes Antonio's main obsession, which leads to his own downfall. Elaine, the love interest of Ricardo, who dies in a plane crash while flying to Bogota to visit Ricardo. The plane in which Elaine crashes in is actually the Avianca 203, which was a real flight that went down near Bogota and killed 110 people, including 3 people on the ground. Maya Laverde, the daughter of Ricardo and Elaine, later meets Antonio and provides him with information about Ricardo and Elaine. Antonio and Maya begin a relationship which only lasts a short amount of time, and is fueled purely by their share in grief. An important theme of The Sound of Things Falling is secondhand trauma, which focuses on the actions of certain people and how they affect other people and the lives of those around them. The Colombian drug wars obviously affected many, not just those who are directly involved, and this is shown through the grief in which Maya and Antonio experience due to Ricardo's execution, due to his involvement in the drug trade. Antonio also becomes obsessed with finding out the truth behind Ricardo's life, and this causes him to become distant with his wife and his child, eventually resulting in the two leaving him. He makes decisions, such as beginning a relationship with Maya, that are fueled by both grief and confusion, leading to a path of self-destruction that would not have occurred without the involvement of the drug trade. Holding on to the past is another large theme in The Sound of Things Falling. Once Ricardo is killed, Antonio appears to put his entire present life on hold, and instead looks for answers relating to Ricardo's past. Antonio appears to attempt to leave his own life in the present behind, keeping secrets and avoiding speaking to and seeing his wife and child. He visits Ricardo's daughter, Maya, who appears to have a similar issue, as she finds it hard to move on with her mother and father's death. This leads to an affair between the two characters, representing their similarities in not only both experiencing grief, but also not being able to let go of the past and to look to the present. After Maya listens to the black box recording of the flight in which her mother died on, Antonio leaves her to go back to his own home, representing both Maya and Antonio moving on from the disastrous events that had occurred. Although, when Antonio returns home, it appears to be too late, as both his wife and daughter have left. This reveals the troublesome effects in which living in the past can have on those in the present. Probably one of the biggest and most interesting themes in The Sound of Things Falling is the themes of falling and flying, which are represented by the falling of the Colombian society and the falling of the characters involved in The Sound of Things Falling. Flying can often be a symbol for the achievement of dreams and the leaving behind of reality throughout the novel. Ricardo mentions to Elaine his passion for flying planes, which leads him to flying cocaine across borders for drug cartels. Elaine also mentions flying, but in a much more negative light, saying she has a fear of flying and images of being in a crash upon her first arrival in Bogota while working for the Peace Corps. She also later dies in a plane crash, also on her way to Bogota, to meet Ricardo. Another interesting theory is that this could perhaps represent the naive nature of Ricardo, perhaps saying that he has no problem with flying, he's very excited about it, he doesn't really have any doubts about it, whereas Elaine has quite a few doubts and she seems to see it much more negatively and be a little bit more hesitant about it. And that obviously relates to the novel, as Elaine seems to be rather hesitant about everything and doesn't really take things for granted, whereas Ricardo seems to take the deal of flying cocaine across the border very easily and doesn't seem to really question it until it's too late. Both Ricardo and Elaine leave reality to achieve a dream, not noticing the reality of certain situations. In Ricardo's case, he dreams of being a pilot, but does not realize the true dangers of working for a drug cartel. In Elaine's case, she dreams of being in an ordinary relationship with Ricardo, but forgets the dangers in which Ricardo poses to her own life. So, continuing on with the theme of falling and flying, the aspect of falling is also closely related to flying. This is very literal in Elaine's case, as her plane falls and crashes to the ground, killing not only her, but many others on board. Ricardo figuratively falls, as he achieves his dream of flying planes, becomes rather wealthy from his job, and is then executed due to his relationship with the drug trade, representing his fall and crash to the ground. Antonio also appears to fly. He leaves the reality of his own life with his child and wife, and tries to find information about Ricardo Laverde and his past life. He also later falls when he comes back to reality, as he leaves Mayo to return home and discovers his wife and child have left him, leaving him emotionally crashing to the ground. So thank you for watching. I know it's a pretty short video, but hopefully it'll help out when it comes to exam time, and feel free to comment below if there are any other books you'd like me to look into, or there's anything that I've missed in this video.